Hello community and welcome to the second Shaboozey Open tournament for League of Legends. Today we're going to be looking at a 1v1 tournament. I'll be hosting it as ever. Orkai, master of all terrible live streams, and joining me today is professional wrestler Ace Man. Say hello, Ace. And fervent League of Legends bully Giffle.
Oh, hi!
We've got plenty of exciting matches ahead of us today, and be sure to check out our second stream over on Shaboozey Servers 2 for another view of what's going on. And apparently Omzit. Yeah. So you've got a whole 4 casters for this today. Look forward to that. Exciting times. There'll be terrible music, terrible jokes, and terrible casting. Our first game will be going live in about 15 seconds. And you'll be able to see the champions of today's first matchup, Seasondrinker versus Chomper, known to most community members as SG and Fellacrox.
Giffle's an amazing shotcaster.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, the best contributions. Jesus Christ.
So we brought in all the comedic relief today. Try and liven things up a bit.
Giffle is the best.
I am the best right now.
Giffle's the best right now.
As you can see, today's first matchup, Kale versus Zed. What do you guys think about this one?
Kale's OP.
Interesting combo, because when Sid dives in at level 6, if we get to see it that far, then Kale can counter to initiate pretty hard. While Kale has a nice sustain, Sid is a bit more all-in champion.
Yeah, and the all-in never too great against that Kale ulti, sheltering her against all that damage. Be interesting to see the early game. And as ever, my chat has decided that we're not allowed to see what they're typing to each other.
It looks like Kale's going for the hybrid start.
I'm pretty sure that's the recommended item start. And Zed for some sustain, which is good, because otherwise he's just not got any at all.
Kale can keep him away. She'll have a real advantage. If she can kite him.
Kale's going a bit ballsy here without taking a flash as well.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of maneuverability on Zed straight from the start with a flash. He's got the movement from the ulti and the movement from the clones, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
They're gonna exhaust would have benefited Kale pretty well.
Both of them running barrier, so the exchanges early on are not going to see a whole lot of damage, I wouldn't say.
Looking for the forcement in their fight, so...
Love action going down right now.
Yeah, look at all those poor minions.
Well, if you look at it, the purple team's caster minions seem to outnumber about 6 to 4. Oh.
As we all know, minions are all controlled by Korean children. From an early age, that's how they teach them how to play League of Legends.
Dun dun, racism!
There's no racism there, that is actually how they are controlled. Yeah, I just saw someone say on the stream there's no in-game music. That's because I don't like the in-game music. It's so loud and uncomfortable.
The question is though, okay, does the Korean children die when the minion dies?
No. Wait, the reason that Koreans are so good at League of Legends is because they spend all that time learning how to get into lane and to last hit other minions. And from a really early age, that can make the difference. So there's a bit of poke coming through from the Kale here. We can see that the auto-attack range really does make that big difference early game, whereas Zed has to poke with his abilities. Kale can pretty much keep him back all the time. We've got 2 levels in Kale's E at the moment, as opposed to on Zed, where again we're seeing the really heavy poke is the most leveled ability. There you go, this is to stop you from complaining, chat. You can have some very quiet music. It's going to feel really inappropriate with the tempo of the game. So the minion farms at the moment pretty equal, with SG being an entire wave behind.
But
If he can take that.
Gonna come out now.
So, for those of you that watched the last tournament, you'll know that the rules for this one are slightly different. There's none of that business about the 1 kill. We're playing for a full win now. Ace, can you give us some background knowledge on why we decided to change for this tournament? Ace, of course, heading up the League of Legends tournament's design. Oh, big clash coming in. There goes the Zed ulti, and the Kale ulti in return, completely negating the damage.
I think we're going to see a lot of that throughout this game.
It's really hard to kill Kale in an engagement right now.
Now what you've got to wonder really is, if you were playing Kale right now, would you go for some attack speed to try and clear those turrets? Are you going to go for some AP to try and get the big burst damage? What do you think?
AP would be a good choice because you could poke him down over time. Unless he gets super sustained, push breaker.
I'd honestly go for the attack speed, because you're not going to be able to rely on killing him. It's a more reliant strategy to try and push, because Zed is not a strong pusher without his item set.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Nash's Tooth, Jinso's Rage Blade on Kale. I think it just gives that ridiculous pushing power that you really want on this type of game. You have to capitalize on your enemy being down as well as being able to put the damage out to get them down. So full AP Kale might not be what we're looking for in this game.
And since we have a Kale with the E active for the tower damage, he might as well get some attack speed to utilize his ability set.
As we've seen before, this health relic control comes in quite a lot late in the game, because once you've started pushing someone under the tower and you have that 3rd health relic, it becomes very difficult for them to get that kill on you. Plus you put so much pressure on their health and the tower, if they have to keep going back and getting that 2nd health relic, it can cause some real issues. It also makes a really big difference on what you're going to choose in terms of sustain items, because you don't quite need that same amount of sustain items if you can always go back and get yourself a nice bit of health. Here's another big engagement. That might be an early ulti from Kale. It still takes the damage from the ulti and tower shot on top of that. We should expect to see Zed try and capitalise on this now and put in a little bit of the hurt on Kale.
You may notice that Kale's ultimate's on a 90-second cooldown timer, while Zed's at a 120. That leaves a 30-second overlap where Kale will have the advantage over Zed in most engagements.
Interesting, he decides to take some poke damage right there.
So I'm surprised not to see him make more use of his passive at this point. Zed's passive allowing him to do a whole lot of extra damage against champions below 50% health. And there we go, Kale right back up again. But the big pokes from Zed, that's a lot of damage. What's he stuck in on AD? 94 attack damage. Not much higher than Kale, but apparently more than enough to really put the pain on.
Forcing Kale to build a little bit more passive right here.
It's good to see this back and forth from where Kale was originally putting on so much pressure and is now right under the turret again.
Kale's ultimate just came up. It looks like Kale knows this.
Zed's ultimate only 15 seconds from this point though. And that could be more than enough to finish Kale if he doesn't play his ulti right this time. It'd be nice to have a respawn timer scale so that we could see how much it's going to hurt if somebody dies here, because we're now level 11. I think respawn is about 20 seconds, which is enough to take a full tower. So at this point it's going to really hurt whoever goes down first.
Depending on where the fight happens.
The big problem, of course, with these 1v1s is that the person who dies obviously loses that tower, but they come back with these items that put them at such a big advantage that the first kill can give them a tower and give them that massive advantage in lane. Looks like Zed's looking for an engage. The Kale ulti there. This should be a death for Kale, guarantee. There we go. There's the barrier. And the ignite. Come on. Ah, and he's finished him. Let's see what he can make out of this. So, again, that was... you saw that he waited for Kale's ulti to go off before he used his own there. Which is good play against making sure that he doesn't have his main damage negated again.
And we see the Nashor's Tooth coming in there as predicted.
The attack speed can make a really big difference with KLZ, especially with the AP.
It could have benefited more from building Ginsu's Rage Blade. Gives him that damage as well as the attack speed.
And Ginsu's Rage Blade, of course, having that new active, which is brilliant against people with a lot of burst damage.
It really makes her hard to kill.
We should hopefully see Kale try and put on a couple more engages now. While he has the item advantage, he should be able to put some real pressure on against Zed, who's still only got that Vampiric Scepter and boots.
But the question is now, does Kale go full in, kill SG, or does he just try and stay back, farm, push the tower, whatever, so he doesn't lose too much? If he kills him, he's gonna get the item advantage back again.
Yeah, I think a lot of pressure really is what is needed. In these 1v1 games, pressure is what wins. That's why we found champions that aren't normally that strong. Teemo in 1v1 is incredibly strong because of the way that he can shroom up the lane and stop you from pushing back. Heimerdinger, again, you can put those turrets down and you can get that damage without people being able to retort. And it's really very strong. Whereas champions who normally you find to be quite strong, top laners, Darius and such, really don't have that same advantage. Here's another big fight coming in. A turret shot taken, but nothing major. There we go. He's got the pressure now. If he can apply this without throwing himself away, he can really get an advantage here. This is great play by Zed. Coming out, wiping out the minion wave, and then going back to a safe distance to stop himself from getting poked down to the point where he can't defend his tower. Kale really needs to get more pressure applied whenever the minion waves are down. The unfortunate thing I would say about Kale's E in this situation is that if he attacks the tower and Zed is too close, he's still going to draw aggro, and that can really set you back while you're trying to push, because he doesn't want to get into melee because Zed will inflict way too much damage. Here we go. This is the kind of pressure we need. Tower taking a lot of damage there. And that's a good ult. Stopped him from taking any of that damage from Zed's ulti.
Well, you have to remember, Zed's ulti doesn't deal a lot of damage base. It's dependent on how much you deal after you use the blood or the mark
But it's
thingy.
with his ulti up, while that's on him, if he's using his invulnerability, then Zed can't inflict any damage to capitalise on his ulti, can he?
The fact that Zed popped his ulti there was weird though. I don't get why we
It
didn't.
shows how much he's suffering from this pressure.
He just wants to get some. He wants to get something, either die or get some pressure back, or relieve some of the pressure.
It looks like he's almost trying to bait Kale into killing him here. He's going to lose the tower here though, I think. Kale knows that he can just kill him as soon as that's gone. And this should be the kill for Kale here. Oh, we took a lot of damage from that though. Let's see what Zed buys. Oh, straight into the magic resist as well. Lots of cooldown and a great armor pen from Brutalizer. And a Bilgewater Cutlass. So he'll be going for that Blade of the Ruin King as well.
Looks like
And the
Kale.
suicide.
And that, oh, we don't like to see that. That's cheap.
Pussy mad.
We were never big fans of executions.
That's
We prefer
breaking.
gentleman rules.
Yeah, the gentleman agreement has been broken.
That's some unsportsmanlike conduct right there. Going for the nads. But it'll stop him from taking that item disadvantage, so...
Still wants to
See
go.
the needlessly large rod come out. And a blasting wand.
So he's going to make the most of that stinger with AP.
He's building towards the Gensus now. Probably.
That is a very confusing selection of items.
The
I
difficult
don't-
thing with the build he built right there is now when he's going to go back, he's going to either choose between the Rabadons or Ginsus, and if he builds one of them, he's not going to have enough for the other one, most
I don't
likely.
understand
I
why.
suppose it never hurts to have that extra 80 ability power from the needlessly large rod, which, I mean, that's really going to make a big difference, both with his stinger and with his E's normal AP base.
The gold he spent on the pickaxe, he could have bought a Rabadon's. Which in this case would happen a lot more with
No,
this harass.
I mean, he saw what items Zed bought, so he knows that Zed had that magic resist. It may not have been a bad call to actually pick up some of that ID.
Popping the Hexdrinker right there.
Again, really getting a lot of pressure here. Both of them now up to level 17, so we're not going to see a whole lot of difference in XP from now. Kale taking a lot of tower shots. He knows that Zed's ulti is still down, so maybe he just thinks that he can take that.
Health fountains up.
Plus, of course, he has a lot of AP in his own heal, so that was a fairly big heal there.
Still got his ulti up if it comes down to the engagement.
And Zed's ulti's just come up now.
I think we're going to...
Oh, this is the risky engage. I think we're going to see a double execute here. Oh, the barrier though. He's got it. That's another turret down. If he can take the inhibitor here, his pressure is going to go through the roof. It's got
will we
full
see
20 seconds.
So, another yeah, execute coming in.
So cheap!
Rules are just pissing themselves right now. Could have gotten the in here.
Gensu's bot.
Yeah, so as I thought,
Nice,
he's
getting
just
cellular.
he just took that needlessly to make sure that he has a lot more on the heal, and he's really making the most out of Kale's scaling.
Said looking to try and push something while he has the slight advantage. He's gonna get that tower.
That was a smart move. I mean, best to try and pick those things up while he can.
Trying to abuse the non-gentleman rules right there.
Yeah. If he can make the most of using that needlessly to poke and then get back out, he Velocrux should be able to make quite a lot of pain for SG here. The Blade of the Ruined King is a good disengage though.
Might have been a better option for Velocrux to take that inhib instead of the suicide. Pushing from super minions in a 1v1 matchup is incredible.
And just to fight, if you choose to pick a fight with super minions, you're gonna have a big advantage.
Got that rage up now. He can use
Great
it.
engage from SG though.
He's not. He just lost his rage there from not attacking, which was
It's
pretty
not as big an advantage as you would want to risk your life over it.
No, but
Nobody.
all it takes is one hit to refresh the cooldown, like the take on it,
I
and
mean,
then
it's a nice bit of health back. I'm aware that people can't see this because of the overlay, but you get a nice bit of extra attack speed, some lifesteal, and a bit of spell vamp as well. So you can really generate quite a lot of health back from Kale.
Said waiting for his ulti to be back up for the next engagement.
That's a couple of seconds now. And there we go, there's the inhibitor. That's going to be a lot of pressure difference. There's Zed's ulti. And again, that Kale ulti just denies so much possible damage from Zed.
makes you such a strong fucking.
So the next wave is normal, and the one after that should have super minions in it.
The one spawning in a second or so.
Yeah. And that should be what he needs to really push for the win.
As we see the two people in the game talking about the new 1v1 map, not the ARAM map.
I like that map. I like the idea that you'd be able to actually get those set rules which allow you to go back and take the turret for the victory and stuff. I think that would be really solid for these kinds of tournaments because we just can't replicate it at all.
Early
Ulti used
kill
a little
out
bit
there.
earlier right there.
Doesn't matter though, he's so far ahead at this point.
And with that super minion tanking the towers, he should be able to push for the win now.
As we see the GG coming in as well.
Players are taking off their headsets and about to shake hands.
What's that? Velocrux has kicked him in the balls as he walked past.
So Velocrux is ecstatic about this win. Just jumping on the table, doing a little dance.
Let's bring him in the channel and see how he feels about that win.
User was moved to your channel.
Velocrux, after that win, how are you feeling?
I feel like I'm gonna kick SG in the balls when I walk by.
Interesting how to use how you decided to abuse the gentleman rule right there.
Yeah, what do you have to say in your defense?
Are you gonna go and kill a grandma on the way home? Because we
I don't know.
we don't approve.
I may just burn down an orphanage.
Wouldn't be
You
far
heard
from
it
what
here
you've been
first.
doing.
Chomper, fellow crooks, the winner of round 1 match. Burning down orphanages.
Killing himself.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next round.